is just to help you unwind, relax, calm down, so that when you go back, it's easier to witness. Seeing the emptiness of things can help us cultivate stillness and peace of mind. If you do not know how to keep still in this crazy world, this is Litsu. If you do not know how to keep still in this crazy world, you will be drawn into all kinds of unnecessary trouble. You will lose your view of the way, the Taoist way. The Taoist way has been described as this, as opposed to the way of the ego. Up, down, up, down. The Taoist way is up and down, but smoothly flowing, up and down, like the tides of the ocean or of a river. Seeing the emptiness of things can help us cultivate stillness and peace of mind. If you don't know how to keep quiet in this crazy world, you're going to be drawn into all kinds of unnecessary trouble. You will lose your view of the way, the Taoist way. And when you realize it, it will be too late. For in losing the way, you will have also lost yourself. Chuang Tzu once told a story about two persons who both lost a sheep. One person became very depressed and lost himself in drinking and gambling to try to forget this great misfortune. The other person decided that this would be an excellent chance for him to study the classics and quietly observe the subtleties of nature. You see, both men experienced the same misfortune, but one man lost himself because he was too attached to the experience of loss, while the other man found himself because he was able to let go of both the gain and the loss. This is from Litsu, a Taoist guide to practical living. Two experiences, both reactions opposite. My favorite story, which some of you who've been listening to me for a long time have heard, but you always laugh when I tell it, is that during the afternoon program, which we have on Saturdays, meditation and discussion, I noticed that two of the people who had been coming for a while to that group or to the ashram had contrasting emotions on their faces. One was absolutely beside herself with elation and happiness. She could hardly sit still. She was so eager, so ready to tell me wonderful news. I could see it. And the other one had the same look of happiness, but was quieter, much quieter. But they both looked extraordinarily happy for two people, two women who had never looked that happy. So I couldn't wait to hear what was going on. I said, I'll make up names, Judith. I said, Judith, I want to talk to you. She said, I know, yes, I'm coming. I said, and when Judith leaves, Marie, you come in. She said, okay, I want to tell you something too. I said, I know. I said, Judith, let's whisper. What's going on? She said, it happened. You know, I always told you that I couldn't find anybody and had given up finding someone. I met somebody, and that's why you haven't seen me for a while. I'm getting married. I said, wonderful. I gave her a big hug. And I said, you'll stay for the program? Oh, yes. And she left happy. Marie came in. Joan, I have something to tell you. I said, I know you do. It's all over your face. What is it? I'm finally getting a divorce. This was opposite experiences, bringing on the same result. The ups and the downs like that never reveal anything to us about life and the Vedantic way of living. But if we can at some point, now those are two extremes, but if we can at some point just take things as being what life is presenting to us to lift us up all the time, whatever it is, because it is all the time. I know I look like at the moment, I haven't had any problems. That's not what Sri Brahmananda told me. He told me I've had 1 million shocks, many of them coming in the early part of this lifetime. So we can have these problems, we can have these shocks, but it's the way we step aside and try to see them as the way of heaven and earth. What is the meaning? That's what is meant by quiet down. Is anyone else in this room being bothered by this fly? Yes? Good. I thought I was special. You know? I didn't know why. I think it's our vibration, you know? Even the insects want to be near us. So I hope this small, short reading meant as much to you as it meant to me when I read it. I have another one that I promised you I'd be reading on the topic of sensitivity. It may surprise you to know, if you haven't noticed already, that if you have been meditating a long time, it shows you, you know, in the old days, I could have a room full of people. I'm talking about 50 years ago. Room full of people listening to something I was saying. And if they all looked happy, except for 1 or 2 who just left the room, that would bother me all night long. Not that 500 people were happy, but why did those 2 leave? Because ego was very much more present in those days. I witnessed when that couple got up to go 2 things: how they looked, their expressions, and also my reaction. My reaction was, I hope they're okay. Because sometimes if one isn't feeling well, the other has to leave with that person. If they come back, I'll be happy. Somebody's come. But it's always interesting to see that your reactions have changed. For a long time, I saw that no matter who left or when they left or if they left, it went back to feelings of inadequacy, criticism, rejection. Rejection, I guess, was the big one. Something has happened, and hopefully you won't need 50 years, as I did. But you do undergo a transformation where your old conditioned responses undergo a change. Other things maybe not. This doesn't mean I'm enlightened. Maybe a real rejection. Where's Dharmadev? Dharmadev's been with me 60 years. Let's see if he wants to leave me. What happened? I'll be watching Dharmadev. But don't test me yet. It's not a good month, this one. But really, some things won't bother you as much as other things. It's always important to be able to watch your mind as a separate entity from the witness. The witness is never contaminated, never disturbed by the goings on with the mind, the ego. And that's important to see, because it's our own, it's only our identification with this body-mind entity. That's all. That's causing every problem we have. Identifying with something that's changing all the time. It makes no sense to do that. The changing phenomena. You don't know how. I'd love to ask you if you have questions, but put them in the box. This box is here. I don't want you going home and on the way home remembering something you wanted to ask. My answers will be responses that Sri Brahmananda has given, or Ramana Maharshi, or Nisargadatta Maharaj. I, for some reason, have an excellent memory of the teachings of these great masters. I cannot remember what I had for lunch yesterday, or what I wanted to buy, because it's not interesting me as much as what they said. But don't miss a chance. Tomorrow morning, I'll have a short reading from I Am That, specifically chosen for this weekend, but mainly it will be to respond to questions that, if answered to the point, so that you see the answer that was hidden in your question, you will be instantly transformed. But you don't have to sign your name. That's what's so beautiful about this. Just write your question. We gave you paper and pencil in your packet, so you can write this, and then I'll respond. I'll respond to every question. Anyone I don't get to cover tomorrow, I'll give you my email, or you give me yours, and then I'll respond. So I was saying that the longer we meditate, the more sensitive we become. And that's not a bad thing. This is from a book called Satyam Shivam Sundaram. That's what we say on someone's birthday at this ashram. Truth, knowledge and beauty. Truth, love and beauty. It's a question addressed to Rajneesh. Why do I get so sensitive? Where does it come from? And is it possible to share sensitivity? Rajneesh, as he always does, answers instantly. This isn't something he wrote. It's something he answered spontaneously. Every child is born sensitive, utterly sensitive. But society does not want so many sensitive people in the world. Society wants people with thick skins. It needs laborers, it needs soldiers, it needs all kinds of hard people who have bypassed their hearts. It needs professors, intellectuals, it needs scientists. They are the people who don't know about their own hearts, about their own sensitivity. Don't ask, why did I get so sensitive? Sensitive you are born. It is your birthright. When you don't feel sensitive, you can ask the question, why I am not feeling sensitive. Please understand, sensitivity is one of the great qualities of being religious. It is told of one of the greatest men of this century, George Bernard Shaw, that a man had come to meet him, a creative artist, a novelist, and he saw so many beautiful flowers in his garden, in Shaw's garden, that he couldn't believe it. When he went into George Bernard Shaw's room, there was not even a single flower there. He asked him, "I'm sorry, but this is strange to me. You have so many beautiful flowers in your garden, in abundance. Why didn't you just pick a few for a vase in your room?" George Bernard Shaw said, "I love flowers, but I love children also. They are as beautiful as any flower, but I wouldn't cut their heads to decorate my sitting room." The flowers in my garden are going to blossom. They'll dance in the rain. They'll dance in the sun and the wind. There they are alive. I'm not a butcher. I cannot cut a flower off from its life source. And I don't like corpses in my room. He was right. George Bernard Shaw was a sensitive man. Very sensitive. You are asking, where does it come from? It comes from your very being. Don't look for any outside source. It is your nature. And is it possible to share sensitivity? Of course, of course. You may have observed that when shaking hands with a few people, you feel as if you're shaking hands with a dead branch of a tree. It has no life, no warmth, no energy. You have also experienced shaking hands with someone else, and you feel something is being transferred. Something has transpired between your energies. A warmth, a loving friendliness. These are the people that if you sit with them, you feel nourished. And those others, like dead branches of a tree, if you sit with them, you will feel strangely as if you are being drained. Sensitivity can be shared in 1,001 ways. The most fundamental is a lovingness, not a love relationship, but just pure lovingness, without any conditions, not asking anything in return. Just pouring your heart on people, even on strangers, because it is overflowing your heart with sensitivity. Now, the scientists say you can shake hands with a tree, and if you're friendly, you will feel tremendous sensitivity in the tree itself. There are old stories, they're unbelievable stories, which cannot be factual, but one never knows. Maybe they are factual. It is said that whenever Gautam Buddha passed trees which had been without leaves suddenly grew leaves to give him shade. Whenever he sat under a tree, suddenly thousands of flowers blossomed and started falling over him. Oh, it may be simply symbolic, but there's a possibility of its being real too. And when I say that, the modern scientific research about trees is in my support. It was the first Indian Nobel Prize winner, Jagdish Chandra Bose, who proved to the scientific world that trees are not dead. He was given a Nobel Prize for it. But since Jagdish Chandra Bose, much has happened. He would be tremendously happy if he could come and see what scientists have managed. Now they can have something like a cardiogram attached to the tree. A man comes to the tree, a friend with love in his heart, and the tree starts dancing, even without any wind, and the cardiogram becomes very symmetrical. The graph on the paper becomes almost a harmonious beauty. But when another man comes carrying an axe with the idea to cut down the tree, even if he has not come close to that tree, the graph of the cardiogram goes berserk. It loses all symmetry. It loses all its harmony. It simply goes insane. Something's going to harm the tree, and it knows it. It's strange, because the tree has not been harmed. It's just an idea in the woodcutter's mind. The tree is so sensitive that it catches even your ideas. And if a tree can do that, what about the people on your bus, or on your train, or at your dinner table, or in your yoga classes, whether you're the teacher or the student? They're able to pick up. You can smile and look comfortable with yourself. If there were babies or dogs in the room, they'd all be barking at you, because they're picking up your energy, picking up your frequency. And I say this to yoga teachers: never, 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 never teach a class when you yourself are feeling very angry. That gets transmitted directly. Our teacher, Sri Brahmananda, dictated meditation recordings. He dictated them, and I went in later and recorded them in a studio. But on these meditations, they're called the Blue Sky Meditations, 6 of them. I think you can get them singly. But on one of them, he says, this meditation is intended especially for yoga teachers. And I said to him, oh, wait a minute, Gurji, does that mean that people who are not yoga teachers won't benefit? No, he said, everybody will benefit. But this is for yoga teachers who come in to teach a class or meditation and they're not in condition. Then they can put this on. And this will put them in good condition for the rest of the class. He says, because transmitting directly calming energy. So I haven't said that in 20 years. So there must be one yoga teacher in this group who should buy the Blue Sky Meditations. Many people are using them in their yoga classes or the witnessing, if they're not feeling quiet enough to transmit the proper. How many of you understand and appreciate that? What I said? Good, because sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't have said something, but I do know that if I were not capable because of all these years, I haven't always been, but after almost 50 years, if I didn't feel capable of dropping my problems, my ego nonsense quickly so that I could come in here and not be transmitting that anger or that tension. If I felt I couldn't do that, I would not offer programs. But you have to, if you're in the role of teacher, you have to be able to empty your mind, value that emptiness, as Litsu said. I'm going to run through this so we're not late. And another thing they became aware of was that if one tree is trembling with fear, they had not thought about it. They hadn't considered this. One scientist just put a few cardiograms on other trees surrounding the trees they had targeted. And when the tree started trembling with fear, other trees also participated in that fear, and their cardiograms showed the same fear. They must have been old friends, those trees, growing in the same grove. They must have shared their love with each other. They must have been friendly. because they also reacted immediately. The whole of existence is full of sensitivity, and man is the highest product of this existence. Naturally, your heart, your being, is ready to overflow. You've been hiding it, repressing it. Your parents and your teachers have told you to be hard, be strong, because it's a world full of struggle. If you cannot fight and compete, you will be nobody. So a few people, just a few, like poets, painters, musicians, sculptors, all the artists who are no more in the competitive world, who are not hoping to accumulate billions of dollars, are the only people who have some trace of sensitivity left. And he's generalizing, of course, but it's easier to find sensitivity among artists, any kind of artist. You can be a stockbroker and be an artist. You go into doctors' offices, you see they're painting, they're photographers, they're sailing, they're doing all these wonderful things to get away from what they're doing every day. They all have hobbies. But these hobbies, these loves that we have, they give us an opportunity to overflow with our sensitivity. And the more you share your sensitivity, share your love, share your friendliness, your compassion, the closer you will come to the goal of being a mystic. My final suggestion to you is this: keep climbing upwards. You may never reach the top, but it's definitely the right direction. And sensitivity is the beginning of a new opening in your being. Don't be afraid. You go on climbing higher and higher. Become more and more sensitive. Hopefully it will bring you the ultimate flowering of humanity, which is the mystic rose. You're living in a very insane, pathetic world. If you don't take yourself out of the mob psychology and manifest your authentic reality, you will be drowned in the mess of the whole world. In my vision, a seeker is one who is making every effort to get rid of the insanity that he has been conditioned for. Sensitivity will help immensely to make you sane, sensible. And if you go on moving in the right direction, your sensitivity will become your meditation. And finally, your mystic experience of enlightenment. So if you have been one of the people complaining that you're overly sensitive, stop complaining. And if you can still get down on your knees, I can't, but if you can, thank whatever powers that be for creating that in you. Sometimes the people whom we considered to be our enemies, those who didn't like us or we didn't like them, were the very ones who brought out all that sensitivity in us. So I think we have warmed up considerably for Deepak. We're just only about 3 minutes late. But I will say this. I start to feel my way around for almost a year in watching for what would be a good reading, a good film, a good exercise, a good anything. And everything that you're being exposed to this weekend is designed to bring out your sensitivity. That's why we had lots of Kleenex boxes when you were watching the film today, because I knew that touching upon the love of a pet or the love of a child, the love of an attachment, would open the heart, because that's what is the value of attachments. That's the good part of them. Learning through these Vedantic teachings that you never lose anybody. It's not possible to lose anyone to whom you're attached. They have to come back until they are neutralized. We bring them back magnetically. So there's no reason to grieve. You just have to say, well, I guess I wasn't ready again for this relationship. Okay, back to cleaning out this needy, demanding ego of mine. But never to grieve about it. But the heart can cry. And the songs that you'll be listening to, this is a reminder that you shouldn't leave this retreat because our teacher wouldn't like it. He created what he called the I am dance, because he said if you go home too full of these emotions, too full of these feelings, it can create some damage for you, physically, mentally, emotionally. So he introduced, while he was still in his physical body, this I am dance. You do it by yourself. You do it with your own feelings. It's not a dance. If you want to dance, you can. But it's an inner dance that comes out when you're relaxed and when you're willing to have some sense of abandon. It's only with your friends here, the people of the silent retreat, so you can feel very relaxed and uncaring what anybody thinks, because each one is busy with his own dance, or should be. Sometimes they do tend to tell me later that they saw me, and I don't know how they saw me if they were dancing with themselves. I don't know how they do that. So you surprised me this trip. Don't watch me, because then I can't have any fun myself. And these songs are designed, half the group here has come before to these retreats, so you know. These songs are designed to bring up any hidden pain that we've kept down, bring it up and release, and then have us explode into, it doesn't have to be a loud explosion or through dance, but let that completely go, whatever it is, whether it's crying or laughing or singing or dancing. Release is what I'm after, because otherwise it will be an obstacle. You don't want to be tight inside you. You want to be free with your emotions and love. This is a safe place to release that. Tomorrow you can do it. So it's reminding you, I do it every year. Please, the retreatants should not leave unless it's absolutely necessary until after that I am dance. If you have to, don't feel that some terrible thing's going to happen to you. What I would suggest is when you get home, put on some of your favorite music and dance at home. Take 15, 20 minutes, a half hour. Put on your favorite and don't care. Just dance any way you want to. And if you have shades and blinds and you want to take off all your clothes and dance, that's good too. A sense of abandon. I want a sense of you're not caring, a sense of abandonment. But I know some of you are here who are not part of the retreat. Please don't try to sneak in tomorrow, because it's an intimate thing. And it's best if the people who've been together, bonding during this silent retreat, feel relaxed enough to let go. So I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes for 1 minute. This is a 1 minute witnessing meditation, so you can see it only takes a minute to go within. Take a deep breath, breathe in. And as you release, feel as though you're releasing all the words, all the language. And let your body breathe as you, the witness, step outside of your body to watch it breathe. You do not breathe. The body breathes. Be the witness, the motionless, changeless witness, watching the breath come and go, the sounds come and go. How lovely to step aside from your mind and just watch it without judgment, without praise, without blame. Just affection. Watching the mind with affection. Letting it be. Our ego mind is so unaccustomed to being watched with affection, it goes into shock and thinking stops. Krishna Devi, if you're here, would you lead us in our traditional prayer?